The statements presented herein reflect the personal experiences and opinions of the author and are shared for the purposes of documentation, public interest, and lawful whistleblower protection. I am a former student of Marsha Fuerst School of Nursing, Riverside, as well as a whistleblower and journalist. I was a dedicated and high-achieving student, earning excellent grades and striving academically. I even took time out of my studies to tutor fellow students, free of charge. I had a dream of becoming a nurse, a dream that, in my view, was derailed by retaliation and a false narrative. On July 3, 2025, I submitted formal Title IX complaints regarding protected concerns I had witnessed. Just days later, I was summoned by the campus dean to a sudden high-pressure meeting under threat of being removed from clinicals, despite having spent the prior 3 to 4 days attempting to contact both the dean and clinical coordinator with no response. When I arrived on campus, I respectfully requested to sign the paperwork in the hallway. This request was based on a prior disclosure to the Chief Nursing Officer of Success Education Colleges that I felt unsafe in closed-door meetings with certain administrators due to past unethical behavior. My ADA rights and disability-related concerns were dismissed. I was forced into a private office where I experienced coercion, harassment, and targeted intimidation, all of which I believe constituted unlawful retaliation. During the meeting, I was presented with a vague clinical document that included unclear expectations such as ambulate the patient twice daily. When I asked, what if the patient is bedbound? The clinical coordinator admitted she could not provide proper clarification and said I could speak with my professor the next day. I then asked why I wasn't reviewing and signing the document with my professor instead. A reasonable and logical question, but this was brushed aside with, "I'm not doing this with you." Moments later, the campus director, whom I had previously submitted a complaint against, backtracked and said I could have a copy. She then escalated pressure, stating that if I didn't sign immediately, I might not be allowed to attend clinicals. I reminded them that students have the legal right to review documents before signing and to receive proper education about expectations, which they clearly failed to provide. Instead of honoring that, they began portraying me as uncooperative for asserting my rights. Disturbed by the interaction, I left the office visibly shaken. A concerned professor witnessed this and looked concerned for me. I told her, "They are so unethical. They are so unethical." She entered the office, appearing ready to advocate on my behalf. Shortly afterward, the nursing specialist who had witnessed the meeting came out to check on me, which directly contradicts any later claim that they felt threatened by me. She attempted to de-escalate the situation in the hallway by encouraging me to sign. Although her approach was more subtle than her colleagues, it was still part of the ongoing pressure. I believe this entire interaction was designed to rattle me and frame me as emotionally unstable. They knew there wouldn't be witnesses in that office. Before I left, I called for the resignation of those involved. A moment of emotional expression I now recognize may not have been ideal, but in my defense, no student with a formally recognized ADA diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder should ever be subjected to a coercive, high-pressure meeting designed to intimidate, bully, and silence them. I also calmly spoke to my friends from cohort number 3 for several minutes in front of the building. There was no sign of concern from staff, security, or faculty. No one asked me to leave or treated me as a threat, which directly contradicts the later claim that I was threatening. Later that night, around 11 p.m., I received an email stating I was banned from campus. Many hours after the 2 p.m. meeting, I did not see the email until I was already on campus the next morning, where I was met with visible hostility from security. I believe this was pre-planned to enhance the narrative that I was coming to school to cause disruption, which was absolutely not the case. Upon reading the message, I left immediately and parked in a nearby public area. From my vehicle, I briefly recorded the security guard and the nursing specialist appearing to discuss me with someone over the phone. I suspected they might call police painting a false narrative of me, so I promptly left campus. I was formally notified of my dismissal shortly afterward. I submitted an appeal which was acknowledged, then ignored for 14 days. 2 weeks later, I received my official expulsion notice. I was falsely labelled as threatening, a characterization I adamantly reject and consider defamatory. Now, before litigation proceeds, I am telling my story, not just for myself, but for every student who has been silenced, coerced, or discarded by systems that claim to serve education and justice, yet operate through intimidation and fear. This archive was not created by choice, but by necessity, a direct response to systemic silencing, institutional evasion, and the attempted erasure of lived truth. What you find here may disturb, but it is not fiction. It is evidence. It is testimony. It is the record they tried to bury. I have endured serious harm and psychological distress as a result of this institution's actions. Throughout this process, I have acted ethically and in good faith, and I remain committed to holding all responsible parties accountable through lawful and ethical means, whether their role involved direct misconduct, administrative negligence, or silent complicity. I believe these actions constitute unlawful retaliation against a federally protected student with a documented disability. California's nursing students deserve better, and I am committed to helping make that happen. Thank you for your support, your attention, and your belief in accountability. The fight for truth is not easy, but it is necessary, and I will continue forward, not in anger, but in conviction. This is not just my story, it's part of a larger one.
And always remember,
it's far from over. Stay tuned.